Okay, so it says suggested uses for gossip while gambling at parties looking for missing people. Uh, for social events, maybe? Yeah, where's the party at? That would work for me.
All right.
Well, ain't that a pickled peach? Okay.
All right. Well, with at least two, you've got the metropolitan of the town is actually in contention to be raised to a ecclesiastical position. Um, the basically the mayor has a very close connection with the archbishop, and the archbishop is putting him up for a position. The various dukes are opposing this. But as an internal church matter, there's not really that much they can do about it officially. The Archduke himself has offered no further comment on the appointment. Also, there is you do catch the edge of a conversation about a some holy ordered knight who was banished due very irregularly.
Not quite a lot to go on, don't you think?
True.
Well, we do have nobility in our party. We could always see if they could try to make a request or I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else.
Well, I've already used my nobility for both of my nobles, so unless it recharges because it is an influence skip, then I can't use it again just yet.
Okay. Because the hard way is to go in the hard way, but otherwise, another option is to see who her serving staff is and then try to get hired there.
Ark, check me on this. I thought nobility was a flat D12 until you tapped it, and you can tap it even if you fail a roll.
Yes, okay, so I didn't have to tap it? Okay, so I still have it then. I could be like the noble distraction and try to keep her and her servants occupied near the front of the house or wherever they entertain guests, and then other people can sneak in.
Well, what we always could do too is like, hey, I'm a visiting noble from some strange foreign land, and I'm presenting myself to meet the Duchess, haha, and then
of course
one person of her entourage, like myself, could just sneak off while she's entertaining this strange new weirdo.
Okay.
I mean, that's something that nobles do, right?
Yes. I believe it is.
I mean, yeah, that totally is something that nobles do on account of being one.
And they just go visit each other for no reason, just to show off. Like, look at me, here I am.
Exactly.
This makes sense.
So, although that means that we have to fit the part for it, so, I mean, I don't know what strange customs you have in your lands, but generally entourages are dressed pretty well. Which means I'd have to get an expensive new dress.
My chainmail isn't appropriate. Or my robe. Guess I'll have to actually dress well for once.
Well, if we're supposed to be honor guard, such things might not necessarily be appropriate.
Well, sneaking around in chainmail with guns is kind of tricky. I'm just saying, I could do it, but
Sneaking with guns kind of depends on never needing to use them.
yeah. The
Yes.
thing is I would look like an assassin, and that's not good either. It's very easy to say, "Oh, I got lost in some babbly foreign speak."
I agree. Max should get a nice fancy dress. That way she can sneak around better. Wait a minute. Maybe. That is a curious question. What attire should we go in?
Yeah, like tell us more about your fascinating heathen culture.
The book doesn't explain much about the difference between Malkism and Solmer, but she will explain that as well as how her tribe operates and what their sumptuary code was for who were nobles and who weren't.
So unless the nobles are really cosmopolitan, which I'm guessing they're not, we could literally just dress up in whatever weird costume we want. I mean, like, what are you gonna say? It's some weird noble.
Oh god.
I mean, well, think about it. This is like back. This is before the internet. This is before any of that. If you like, there was literally a case where a group of pranksters pranked the English Navy by dressing up as like representatives from some African country and claiming that they were royalty, and they got shown around a ship.
Oh wow,
Like that's a thing.
we should totally try to pull that off. So just wear something with lots of feathers on it.
Sorry,
So-
what was that? I missed that.
What'd you say, Ark?
I actually just forgot what I said. It was sort of a little kind of blurred out thing, and it slipped my mind. If I remember, I will say because it might have been funny.
I feel like if we wanted to pull off a big noble visit of a great import, we probably would have had to start that back at the gate. Go in, announce ourselves as such, get special treatment, etc.
Yeah, you guys didn't really roll that well on your look at me, I'm
Mhm.
nobility.
Yeah,
Yes, and announcing it from within the middle of the city just seems a little bit gauche, I suppose.
I suppose we could send a letter to complaint about how our lord has not been given the proper respect due his title.
Or it could be the sort of thing that we can play into it where it's like, oh, we had to hide incognito because we know that things can be oppressive and play to her sympathies as a heretic sympathizer. Eh?
Danger.
Eh.
Possible.
How do the monophismites feel about that?
I have no idea.
I mean,
I could pull out the book, or Eltosian knows how they really were.
I suppose we could try to maybe track down that knight and see if we can learn anything additional. Maybe he has a grudge. Maybe there's something we could learn.
okay. I really want a little bit of discussion about Monophysitism. It's a heretical order that originally believed that Jesus was of a singular divine nature, which ran counter that, but it became a major power in the Eastern Roman Empire. Gosh, to the point where, well, it's complicated. I mean,
One moment while I dig up the core book that actually has the religious summaries.
Yeah, I don't know what any of that. That would be some kind of advanced academic knowledge. I'm sure they just feel confused.
It was one of the comics in, I think, the player book. Here it is. Not hyperdulia. What if it's me? Psst, don't listen to them. The founders of the smaller faith were really from another world. It's true. We witnesses are the keepers of the true manuscripts that they're trying to hide from you.
Oh, yeah, the crazy ones.
The heavens
Does that
gate of
sound-
Ironclaw.
Does that sound remotely like the real word monophysimes?
Well, the real life.
Remotely.
Well, the real life ones were the whole thing came that Jesus and God were made out of the same material. So when people killed Jesus, they actually killed God, which meant that humans could actually kill the divine, which is why
Well,
it was
that
so
was
heretical.
that was actually an earlier heresy, I think. This one was more about the question of whether Jesus was of a nature, two split natures, one mortal, one divine, or a singular nature that was both divine and mortal,
Yeah,
or
that's right.
a
That's
pair
right.
of duality natures that, honestly, a bunch of very precise doctrinal stuff, which really
So the major
doesn't quite
complications
fit.
as far as church doctrine in this setting is that their Jesus equivalent died saving people from a plague. Big white magic sacrificial thing.
Mhm.
There were ancient rumored super mages, I guess, minor deities, something like that.
Super mages.
Yeah, the autarchs.
Ah, right.
So not really sure what they were. It's kind of hard to separate legend from from fact at this late date.
Mhm.
So those kind of things complicate the modern monotheistic religion.
Mhm.
Sounds
Alright.
like a bunch of pointless mumbo jumbo, if you ask me.
And we're
Yes,
hoping
but
to profit by it.
the pointless mumbo jumbo is being shoved at you by your heel bots. So
I'll smile and nod. Okay, you've convinced me, I guess.
All right, box of bandages. You're doing good. Sure.
yeah, we don't have a heel bot in this party.
Nope. Dr. Caesar's our equivalent. Actual
Yes.
bandages.
Let me tell you about the stars and the power they have.
Much more believable. Ah.
Anyway, so do you have a current plan of action?
So far, it seems not.
Again,
Yeah.
I think Yeah.
Go deal with some church mumbo jumbo. We could maybe go try to track down this knight and see if that could give us some additional information. Or we could just try barging in there and see what happens.
Feeling insulted by his treatment of the city. Just saying, he is a noble and start acting more noble than he was.
Well, let me see. I do have some deceit. I could try to. The other option, the worst option, I think, is to try to actually sneak in, because that's the high palace. That's something that like
High risk.
right. That's what professional master burglars try to aspire to do one day, and
Oh.
I that is outside my capability. But
Maybe if we had a hyper specialist for it here.
right. But the good news though is that I think if they do have like openings for just regular servant positions,
Mhm.
I could get in there, bluff my way in, and then, leave and after I've put the letter somewhere.
So, let me think.
I do have
Maybe
stupid.
if we were to make some sort of forged letter of qualification, you could get yourself into the door more easily.
That's also a true statement, yeah. Because I know servants also had that sort of thing.
So if you could perhaps first swipe some sort of document similar to the one we would want to get you in the first place, then we can make sure that your position is all the more assured and safe.
Well, I can't read, so I'm good at stealing things, though. I mean, acquiring things, though.
Well, since I'm going to be more or less useless when it comes to the second half of this plan, that's my offer to help with the first.
I believe there's a very stupid solution that we can consider at least a little bit, which is to literally go to the door and say that we are messengers with a message. Since palaces are usually to keep people out, not necessarily keep people in, it'd probably be easier to escape than to sneak in.
While I'm certain I could throw myself out of a window and survive, I'm not sure the rest of you could do so.
So are you volunteering to be our messenger?
To this, Caesar just starts shaking his head as much as possible. I'm simply saying, if we should do something so risky, I like my head, right where it is.
Yeah, they would arrest you if you tried to give it to them directly, and then they would torture you to find more information about who sent it.
Depends on
But
how we
hey,
lie.
at least this isn't the era of guillotines yet.
Depends on how we lie about it. I'm sure there are ways we could say that's only for the Dutch eyes, and maybe inform them that no return message was expected. We'll see. But you're
All right.
right. Probably a safer option would be to try the fake servant approach.
So let's do some more info gathering first, and it's going to be just oriented around the servant tree. How do they choose who becomes a servant? How do they know who to trust? And where can we get some of that, basically?
Sure. They probably
So
have some recruiting house that they go from, but I can certainly gossip around and see what comes about.
here's my attempt to assist. I'm tempted to maybe break out a specialization for gossip.
Here's an attempt for assist.
Two
Hey,
successes.
I got an assist. Nice.
All right, you got 3 already. I won't burn.
I'm just a pretty fox lady who wants to get into being a servant.
You're just a free thinker here. You're just asking questions. That's all.
Unfortunately, it seems most of the servants are taken from the nobles' actual estates. So, the each duke usually has their own servants, and they usually have. There's not much recruiting going on,
Boo.
and most of the recruiting that happens doesn't happen in the capital.
Right. So where would the Archduke herself get her servants from?
Um, Mostly she steals them from other nobles.
All right.
Well,
so
it would make sense. Like, yeah, give us your most loyal people, my loyal subjects, and they would do that.
But is there anything that necessarily proves that a servant is loyal to a certain duke or here on their permission? Or once they're in the castle, they're just assumed to be there?
Yeah, like you show up one day to to a major domo's office with a letter saying, "Yeah, I was summoned to be here."
Is that the sort of thing you're thinking about?
It's if that's kind of what needs to be done, we could try that, but then they're going to be like, "I don't recall sending out for you. Who are you again?" So
I had an idea. Neferu could offer Max to the Duchess as a gift.
what?
all right, C3PO, you ready to do this?
One
I
that
don't want-
immediately disappears and then settles the blame on you when the letter appears and she's gone.
I don't want to be sold into slavery.
We've seen
Well,
how
it's
well
not
that
quite
went.
slavery.
I can't dance that well. Also, I don't want to be a slave.
It's not quite slavery.
Oh,
It's
Right,
happy
you just
fun
leave for the
slavery.
rest of your life.
And you can't leave.
Well, never mind then.
Here's another question. Just, do we know which room in the castle the Duchess really occupies? And if so, does it have a window?
They're not exactly handing out maps.
True. That's
Yeah, that's sort of national security information,
Yeah.
especially in a setting with flying assassins.
Right, like, the very first thing I thought of, like, is, oh, I could just fly around and fly up to the window, and then I go, well, obviously there should be guards looking for this.
worth a thought.
Woe be once the murder of crows arrives.
Well, maybe you could take the letter, fly to it, and give it to a guard, and then fly off.
I
I
especially
don't know.
which the
Well,
higher
presumably if it ended up in the guards' hands, that would end up being very bad for the Archduke. We're not necessarily here to hurt her that incredibly publicly.
All right. I have a similar version to my stupid, let's just admit to being messengers. Let's hire a local runner in the city to deliver this letter for us. Make sure we are discreet enough that this runner doesn't send them with the letter, send them with the standard payment, and if they get beheaded, who worries about it?
I think perhaps the situation is more complex if they have to hire an outside party like us to deliver it in the first place.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would they even need us?
Yo, dog, I heard you like subcontractors.
Hey man,
And
So
then that
contract-
actor hires a
subcontract.
different one.
I'm just saying, if we're concerned about walking in and just saying we're messengers that will be beheaded, let's just find someone naive enough to do that job and let them be beheaded for us.
So
And I
this
guess I'll-
doesn't necessarily have to be delivered to the Archduchess. You were told to have it discovered, and it is information harmful to the Archduchess.
Maybe we could like put it in a box of expensive chocolates or something. Is it
Or reverse
gift?
pickpocket one of her maids.
Well, maid can't read it.
I guess maybe I'm misunderstanding the intent of the letter. The intent is to blackmail her in particular by letting her know, or by letting others know?
Letting her find it somewhere.
That was the impression I got, was having her find it.
Right, like
The
she's
horse head on the
supposed to
bed.
be the recipient in the end no matter what.
So shall we back up to you getting
that-
this? So It's see. Blackmail message can be used in one or two ways. Either direct blackmail of the Archduchess into influencing the Archduke's relationship with the church, or as a plant in the church possession of a church official who they can use to bring to the Archduke's attention. So it sounded like your employer isn't necessarily
Directly blackmailing the Archduchess, actually the Archduke via the Archduchess. Okay,
yeah,
that does change things a lot. So we literally just have to have somebody act as a concerned and proper. What's the religion in this world called? I was going to say Christian, but
Calabria, but yeah.
so we just need someone to act as a proper, respectful Elamere who has this horrible letter meant for the Archduchess. Oh, they go to confessional with this terrible, terrible secret that they don't know what to do.
Who here's good at lying apart from me?
Not I.
Everyone just starts staring at you.
Oh,
Kind of
come on.
dodge the questions.
I'm okay at planning. It's not the execution of
Yeah, emphasis on execution. Let's avoid that. See, I was thinking we could like get a gift or something and then like slip it in with the gift so it's address, it's for her and she's to receive it, I guess.
the wonders of the reverse heist.
Right, which means we'd have to plant it in the servants' quarters or somewhere who's supposed to deliver it. That would be easier than trying to get to her chamber itself. I mean, you could like show up and say, "Here we have a gift for as a delivery person from some random noble." I'm sure she gets gifts all the time. Eh?
possible.
So it could be the sort of thing. Well, shoot, I don't know.
I feel like we'd start having the sort of issues you have if we just declared her a message. I have another weird option for the head church one, which is to literally just put in the collection plate next Sunday. Presumably that'll get back to the church officials who can read it. I don't know.
Well, what we could do, and here's my thought for like the noble idea. I have some silver. I want to make gold stuff, but we could commission like a piece of jewelry or something and say it's from a wealthy like some noble who's offering a gift in order to increase their standing, and that it needs to be opened only by her because it's valuable, and then include the letter inside the package.
Mm-hmm. So the issue of how we have it delivered.
We could always seal it with a fake piece of wax, to like a fake what's the word, seal. So like, yeah, it looks official, like it's from a noble, and it does have a gift. So if they open it and search it, they can say, "Oh, wow, it does have a gift for the Duchess." Okay, and then they're not going to open the letter because that's against the rules. So when they do deliver it to her, she'll get the gift, and then she'll also get the letter.
I just don't see how it's materially different from us just being messengers and handing her the letter. But
Well, I mean, if we hand the letter to her, she's even if we could do that, she's going to open it up while we're there and say, "Oh, you're done." But
And
if we're just saying, "Yeah, we're here to deliver a package from the August noble so and so, it's valuable. Please make sure that it's it's secured." The guards will say, "Oh, sure, we'll make sure it gets there." "Oh, I look inside when I'm searching it. Oh, it has a sealed letter as well as a shiny gift." "Sure." And then that way we can leave. Huh?
might work, but they also might, they might wait for her to read the missive and so that we can deliver a missive back. But it might work.
Well, guards are usually not privy to the workings of nobility. I mean, she'll have the letter from whom she thinks is from a noble that she should read in private away from that.
Also, keep in mind she'll have a good knowledge of all the local nobility's seals, for the same reasons that all this should get to her.
Which is why it has to be a no-name foreign, made-up authority, essentially. So we'd need to have a phony.
So we're throwing Pornifero under the bus again?
We're doing what now?
Yeah, Portofuro and their made-up aristocracy.
Well, it could just be from Guy Incognito, but as long as it's sealed with like a seal that might exist or could exist, I mean, nobody's going to know until she reads the letter. I mean, it's not that unreasonable for a noble to send a gift if they want to gain favor, even a foreign one.
Suppose that's fair.
So, with you in charge of this plan, what all needs to be done? And, of course, how can we each help?
Well, we'd have to get a gift that would be suitable for a duchess. And I just got done with the silver. But
Are you sure we can afford that with the price we're being paid?
well, the silver I have is left over from my escapades with the bunny dots.
Not to be too insulting, but unless you've put some very fine craftsmanship into that silver, not exactly a fine gift for a duchess.
She
Well,
melted it down.
I melted. So we have the raw silver. What we'd have to do is have a craftsperson make something, a jeweler make something, and they could try to track down whoever made it in the city if we did that. But
I'm just
we'd at
thinking,
least
this
be
might
long gone.
get this to be very believable. We might be spending literally everything we're being paid.
Well, I have 22 denarii in silver, like silver bullion, essentially.
It sounds like Cunnibold is more worried about profit margin.
Yeah, more or less. 'Cause I'm just thinking, we're paying a craftsman who sufficient for a duchess, and plus that takes a fair bit of time as well.
Well, yeah, are we on a...
Craftsmanship is not done in an hour. It's done over days, maybe even weeks, depending on their
Well, it doesn't have to be a good gift, but a suitable gift to pass the muster. So, I mean, usually... Nerd alert. Usually when you make jewelry, something's 14 karat, right? Well, if something's 14 karat gold, that only means about 58% of it is pure gold. The rest of it is other metal. So you can make it so that the silver amount that you use it's like giving them a solid silver anything would be, that you wouldn't want to do that. But even if it's 14 karat, it's still, sterling silver is mixed with like a base metal, like I want to say brass, but yeah. It's a small investment. I mean, you can make a bracelet or something out of maybe 5 to 10 denarii and then use the rest base silver for it or base metal for it.
Right. And I suppose the lumps of silver are kind of just burning a hole in our pocket otherwise anyway.
Well, the thing is I want to make jewelry out of gold. So I realized I needed about 6 Orioles if I want to get the jewelry I want for that would pass muster amongst nobility. Because nobles don't wear silver. But if it's fine crafted, it might be
I
a
guess part of
suitable
the
gift.
issue might be that the crafting itself would also cost some money. Unless we
Yeah,
do
I
it
was a
ourselves.
bit worried about the cost of labor.
Right, so we'd need to find somebody who could make it for us. Nobody in our party has craft.
Well,
But this
that's
is
not.
this is
I do have craft, plenty of craft. I guess that's true. Goodness gracious, I could do this, couldn't I?
well, if you had we could also help it out if you had like an actual workshop to work it with too. I mean, that also gives you a bonus.
I do have a question. What's this number 7 on the map?
Number 7, it's one of the various guardhouses.
Okay. So it's like one of the guardhouses up on the wall, not like one of the buildings down below it.
Well, it is one of the buildings down below the wall. Are housing the Archduke's personal guard, and they're one of 5, 6, 7, and 8 are. One of those is also a small prison for nobles being held for ransom.
Aha. Okay.
They are in the outer in the outer city inside the outer walls, but they're not on the keep plateau.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just realized there might be a bit of research we might want. Well, which is. Sorry, I'm just this talk about the cities reminded me that 9 is literally around it. Is the Archduchess known as a thing?
Sorry, who was a fan of the racetrack?
The Archduchess? Or have any other hobbies that she's known to enter the city proper for? I guess this would probably be a gossip, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if we can get her outside of the castle or whatever, we could try to plant
It'd be
it
a lot
on her.
easier to deal with.
Unfortunately, the Archduchess is
Yep.
not actually in the Dramatis Personae.
Really? Oh God, that's
There
silly.
is a duchess and a bunch of dukes, but not the top people.
I mean, she's got to go to church.
I'm baffled.
No, the church goes
How-
to her.
How is the main key NPC of the mod not in the brain? It's my stupidity. All right, castle it is then.
Yeah, there's like 3 different ways of entering this plot, and this is just one of them that isn't necessarily.
Sorry, I shouldn't have got us distracted by such meta commentary until after.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
Just
Well, I'm assuming like the 3rd is the knight that we haven't really talked to at all.
The knight's actually the first.
Okay, well that still comes out to 3 then.
Gosh, I guess the gift option really is our best one at this point.
So perhaps I could see what type of gold or silver gift the Duchess likes the most as a research thing. Perhaps that would be more accepted.
Probably find a place where we could either hire an artisan or borrow a workshop for process of crafting jewelry.
Borrowing a workshop's probably easier.
Oh yeah.
What kind of role would it be to research what the Duchess would accept as a gift?
Sounds gossipy, but I don't know.
Let's kitchen sink this. So, gossip, etiquette, nobility.
Well, I have one success for gossip.
I don't have etiquette or nobility, though other people do. But I could at least gossip around and help someone else out.
Is this true? There's a success for a aid and gossip.
Let me give you a little bit of gossip here and assist.
You have 3 assists, yeah, so add 3d8.
Never mind for me.
What about nobility and etiquette as well? And the 3d8 assist.
Oh, let me roll that nobility die in there.
Okay. Roll 3d8 as well for assist.
For your assist?
3d8.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, I thought. I'm sorry. I thought I was doing. You go.
Yeah, I don't know. No one like actually claimed they were the
It's
lead, so I
okay,
was trying to
you
push
can do
Ark to it.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine. You were
So if
better
we
than
went
me
with
anyway.
Ark, it would be 3 at least, so that's cool. So what do we learn?
So yeah, cursed module. So let's see. Okay, the Archduke is not really is okay with the mayor of the town being put on that church position. The Archduchess has no opinion at the moment, but I'm sorry.
Well, here's some good news. So I just linked something in the chat here on Discord, but that's kind of a reference I was using for gold, but dependent on how much something weighs, um, you get an idea. So you would multiply 58.3% of that base weight you would need in pure precious metal. So I did that for one of them, like the first one, and that came to about 19 grams. And a single denarii coin, they mentioned this in the book, is 3.5 grams. So it's about 5 or 6 denarii we would need in base material. It's not that expensive.
Wow. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Again,
6
just gotta pay
denarii.
for the labor of it.
Right, that's the tricky part, where it would take some effort to make it, I think. But hey, 6 denarii, yeah, that's worth investing. Especially if we have the base material anyway. We wouldn't need to convince somebody to melt coins down.
Yeah.
See, the biggest issue is that if she is a fan of jewelry, she's going to have much better jewelry.
Well, true, but if
Right,
it's
hence the question, what does she like?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
well, the thing is,
I don't know, make it up. Do we find something or not?
well, the thing is if it's a gift from a noble, even if it's a poor noble, she could say, "Oh, it's the thought that counts. Thank you," but she doesn't ever have to wear it again.
She could probably throw it in. She could probably throw it into the pile with the rest of it.
Exactly. I'm sure she probably has done that numerous times with her station.
Sure, it doesn't have to be a good gift, just a believable gift.
Exactly. And if it's made from precious metal like silver, and it has a seal, even a fake seal on it from a foreign noble, yeah, for all they know, it could come from the Phelan lands. Some
All right.
chieftain there wants to convert to Salumer and wants her support or something.
I don't know. The last time that happened, they started making firearms and crossbows
True.
and founded Harrow's Gate.
But it would also mean that they would have an ally with two. Yeah, you'd have 2 allies then.
Anyway,
Oh, we could always just nail it to the door of the church and be done with it. Our 27 complaints about these people.
actually, you know what you might have access to that is pretty darn rare.
Oh.
Your old friend's armor.
Oh God.
No?
Is she a collector of armor or something?
We can't give that away.
Well, it is just sitting around otherwise.
I would say that's not a fair trade-off. You're like for 2 Orioles, really? We'd give away something that's worth like 7,000 denarii, and it's in Triskelion.
Also
Yeah,
that-
that is an issue. Now, the nature of this letter, it is supposed to be influencing the relationship between the church and the state here. You aren't really sure who you're working for.
That's true.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be given to the Archduchess if it can piss off the church at the state.
So maybe it'd be an easier time trying to figure out how to give this to the church officials without anyone knowing it was us.
Again, you could always be the stupid next Sunday, drop it in the collection plate.
At least a large crowd is in fact a distraction.
We'd be anonymous just because of the bloody number of people in the entire continent.
It's true, I suppose.
So the Basilica is the large. It is. We have the actual church called the Basilica, right?
Yeah, the Basilica.
Yeah, the Basilica.
So someone was actually getting sworn into a position, weren't they?
That is The current plan, assuming nothing nothing goes wrong with that politically.
Mm-hmm. How many
So,
days is that?
give me. You rolled some gossip, so the metropolitan sh- I can't pronounce these French names. Chareg is Salus of Saldre. So he is the advisor to the Archbishop of the Ducal House. And the Archbishop claims residency with him. So he lives in the mayor's house. And the Archbishop is putting up the mayor for position of emissary to the main church in Triskelion. So basically, this guy would be moving up from mayor of Constantinople to emissary of Constantinople to Rome,
Okay.
if I'm understanding the module correctly.
De-emphasize
About how much time before that happens, I guess.
Couple weeks.
Okay. I get the feeling this is perhaps to disrupt that appointment somehow. That's my instinct on this.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So, given that, whose hands is it best put into?
How much do you know about the nobles?
If only we had a noble.
Well, what did you need? There was something going on in the background that I didn't quite hear what you said.
I guess the question is, whose hands is this letter best in for maybe disrupting the political climate here? Does it go to like the Duke or the Duchess as originally intended? Does it go to the church?
The Archduke is above the dukes and duchesses.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a number of dukes and duchesses in town at the moment arguing over this appointment.
They're all arguing at the castle, right?
Presumably, if not in various parties around town.
Okay. I just feel like our objectives keep shifting around all the time the more we hear about like a new thing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Well, it's coming up with a plan. I mean, this is good. There's a number of ways that we could approach it.
Yeah, at
So
least
I'll
you've got a little bit more to go on than that first adventure.
indeed. But we still gotta actually do actions and such. I'll defer to you, Max. What is the objective that we should go for?
Ugh,
Whose hand should it be in?
gosh, I don't know anything about those kind of politics, but
Well, I mean, use the information of others, but my decision will lie with you ultimately. I just need something to focus on.
Well, if we go to the gift idea, that one, I see. The problem is trying to get the letter to who had. If we put it in a collection plate, for example, my fear is that it could potentially get lost because it's not money. They may just somebody who's some lower friar might just throw it away. It might also not have authenticity to it if it's literally it could have come from anybody, so they might just say, "Oh, this is fake."
Right. So the goal
Uh,
of anywhere that we put it is to get it as high up as possible.
Right. So if it's planted on, if so, for example, one of the people we want to put it on their person, if they just like come home from church or from a social event or something and they find this letter on them, that I think would incline them to act.
You know, it's supposed to be discovered by the Duchess, right?
Either
And
by the Duchess or your instructions give you a little bit of leeway on how to use it.
right. And it doesn't specifically state that only they must know it, right?
Yeah.
So revealing it at, like, say, the arguments happening around the Dukes right now could technically be a place to drop it. Let one of them discover it, they shout it out to the crowd, and now the information's out there.
Or let's be honest, they'll be smarter noble. Decide to keep it for themselves for their own useful black.
So maybe the key to this is, again, to deal with the Dukes lower down instead of trying to get to the absolute ah highest court. You know what I mean. And a gift to them could, of course, be cheaper.
That's also true. We could still give the same gift idea, but if the to
And if
somebody
we
else,
disguise as one of another Duke's servants, then of course delivering it is all the easier, isn't it?
But then we would have to forge seal a duke who's actually known.
Well, apparently there are
It's not a
some
bad
out
idea.
partying. I'm sure one of them is drunk.
From
You
what you've
suggesting
gathered
that
from your gossiping,
it's
there's
possible.
about 4 different nobility in town. Duchess Clorinthine de Bollinger, Baron Guntram Rotdiax, Duke Berenther de Grenier, and Duke Lothair de Enclombe. Or I am mangling this French.
it happens. Nobody's perfect.
Quick question. Are their political stances on this appointment well known?
Let's see. Duchess Clorinthine mainly is interested in
Mhm.
she is gives all proper obeisance to the church in that path, but it's more in the nature of buying her way into heaven.
Right.
Baron Guntram is suspicious of all the church's motives. All too often, he's been heard to wish that the Ettengors were real, as a anti-church group.
Those are actually they're like I think they're called extinguishers. Those are the old heretics. Those were the
Extinguers.
yeah, those are
something?
the legit heretics that actually exist.